How happy are you? For many people, trying to balance the pressures of work, family and relationships, not to mention maybe the work and the global economy, for me even to ask that question just completely stresses them out. But you know when you're in the car and somebody cuts you up and you think, I'm going to kill that person, that feeling is not normal. In fact, it's entirely avoidable. If you're feeling anxious or tired or tearful, if you're angry or fidgety or you're not sleeping well, what could be contributing to it is the food and drink you're taking into your body. Of course, food can't alter the external factors in your life. It's not going to turn, the partner who doesn't put the rubbish out into Superman, is it? But it can make your reaction to those kind of daily annoyances a lot less kind of hot, out of proportion really. The good news is you really can eat yourself happy. You first need to understand a bit about how the brain works, what it's made of in particular. Now the brain is a network of nerve cells and the outside layer of each of these cells is made from essential fats. These are known as omegas, and as well as phospholipids, which are also found in eggs and meats, liver and kidneys, that kind of thing. Now, messages are transmitted between the nerve cells via chemicals called neurotransmitters, and these are made of amino acids, which we eat in the form of protein. So the clues are already there. If you want your brain to work well and you want to feel happy, centered, balanced, all those kind of good things, you need to eat proteins and fats for your brain to work properly. If you're depressed though, you're not going to reach for a nice turkey breast and some broccoli, are you? You're going to reach for a bar of chocolate. That's the problem. But this isn't you just being loopy. This is because serotonin, which is the brain's happy chemical, is made out of something called tryptophan, which comes from protein. But, and it's a very big but, to get it into our brains, we need sugar. So chocolate or a big bowl of pasta, for example, is going to boost that happy chemical and make you feel temporarily better. So, if you thought you were just being really weak-willed because you couldn't stick to the Atkins plan, that's not true. That high protein plan makes people depressed because there's no sugar on it. A low fat plan also makes you depressed because you need the fat for your brain. You need to have protein and you need fat in your diet and you need some sugar to be able to have a really well functioning brain and to be happy. Now there's a real double whammy for women, and this is that there's a theory that women are naturally lower in the happy chemical serotonin to start with. You see, we were born grumpy. Also, as we get a bit older and our ovaries stop producing so much estrogen, that's linked to serotonin. As our estrogen drops, so does our serotonin. So then you get really grumpy menopausal women. So now you know the science. How do you actually eat yourself happy? Well, number one, boost your neurotransmitters. To up your serotonin levels, you need to increase tryptophan. Tryptophan is found in protein foods. So you want lots of meat, lots of fish, lots of eggs. That kind of stuff is all going to help your protein levels. But of course, serotonin is not the only transmitter that's going to control whether you feel energetic or happy. Also, adrenaline and noradrenaline, which are made from dopamine, are really important because they give you that sense of focus, of drive, of excitement about life, really. And they're lacking if you're depressed. Dopamine is made from something called tyrosine, and sources of tyrosine include red meat, dairy and fish. So you need to eat all of those in your diet. The next thing to think about is to maximize the function of your adrenal glands. If it feels like you absolutely can't get through the morning without, 10 espressos, or you might have to put the kids into care if you don't get that glass of wine at 6 o'clock. They're all signs that your adrenal glands are struggling. You need to help them along a bit. Caffeine and alcohol, not great for the adrenals, sorry, but in the short term they give you a lift, but in the long term they really stress your adrenals. So the first thing to do is balance your blood sugar. That means eating regularly throughout the day. It means having some protein in every single one of your meals. So, you wouldn't have a piece of toast, you'd have, toast with peanut butter, for example, or you might have a chicken salad for lunch. You make sure you eat regularly, eat some protein in all of those, and you try and avoid stimulants, tea, coffee, alcohol, and also too many of the sweet foods, the cakes and biscuits and stuff, because all of that's going to make your blood sugar do that. If you are wondering whether you are adrenally stressed, kind of things to look for: tiredness, feeling very down, you might be gaining weight, you might feel tearful. All of those things are symptoms of adrenal stress and also cause symptoms of depression. So adrenal stress also doesn't do much for your sex life. the adrenal glands produce three important hormones, one of which is called DHEA. This is a precursor for the production of all sex hormones, such as testosterone, particularly in men, but also in women, and also estrogen. And if your adrenals don't produce DHEA, you have basically the sex drive of a snail. So to improve your adrenals then, you need to cut out or reduce tea, coffee, these stimulants, and particularly alcohol. And remember, green tea is also caffeinated, and also dark chocolate, which a lot of people think is really good for you. It is very caffeinated though. Energy drinks, all those sports drinks, very caffeinated. But also other things that are high in sugar, obviously cakes and biscuits, but also white breads, white pasta, white rice, all of those lift you up, then you come down the other side, and that stresses your adrenals. Now next, you want to think about gut health. You might wonder what your gut has got to do with your brain, but actually quite a lot. If your digestion isn't working properly, you are not absorbing the nutrients you need to get your brain working properly. So it doesn't matter how many bananas you eat, you are not going to feel happy and focused. You're still going to feel tired, grumpy, and all those kind of depressed sort of symptoms. Friendly bacteria in the gut also manufacture B vitamins. Now these are really important in the production of energy from your food. So if you've got a deficiency of B vitamins, it can end up with you feeling quite tired. Gut health is also key because certain food allergies are associated with depression. So gliadin, which is a protein found in wheat, irritates the gut wall. Dairy allergies can also cause things like feeling quite thick in the head. So sometimes it's a wise precaution if you're feeling a bit depressed to think about taking out the dairy foods, certainly the cow dairy foods, the butter, the cheese, the yogurt, particularly the ice cream, my favourite food, unfortunately. You could still stick to some sheets products. So for example, you might want to try feta cheese or halloumi cheese or goat's cheese, for example, and try the kind of milks and yogurts from those things, as they don't tend to have such an effect on your gut. Now, next rule, end hormone havoc is what I've called it. Hormone balance, really important to keeping your mood stable. We talked a bit about the thyroid, but certainly an underactive thyroid is linked to depression. So you want to try and even out your hormones as much as possible. Also, unbalanced hormones in particular affect the thyroid gland. The thyroid gland is a gland in your neck which affects things like your energy levels. If you have an underactive thyroid, you gain weight, for example. It's also very, very connected to depression. So you want to keep your thyroid working well, and that means balancing your hormones. Now, the root of all this really is your liver. The liver is the organ in your body that detoxifies your body, gets rid of things you don't need, including old hormones. If it's not working properly, old hormones continue to circulate, as well as new hormones, and things really go out of whack. To get your liver working really well, decrease toxic load. So you need to take out as many, as I've already mentioned, of the stimulants, tea, coffee, alcohol, and things like headache pills and indigestion tablets. Also, too many of those can stress the liver. So what do you actually eat to eat yourself happy? Well, a typical day, start with a really good breakfast, a protein breakfast. I usually say do eggs, something like an omelette with lots of vegetables. Or you could do maybe a smoothie made with a protein powder. Lunch could be a turkey salad sandwich. You want to make sure it's on rye bread or certainly whole grain bread. Or you could do a goat's cheese salad. With perhaps some good oil to feed your brain, we talked about earlier. Or lentil soup's another really good one. Lentil helps to balance your blood sugar and also really good for female hormone balance. Dinner, again, make sure plenty of protein. So you could do another stir fry with prawns or fish or chicken or something baked in the oven. Plenty of protein, plenty of vegetables, plenty of fibre in that to keep your blood sugar stable. Good eat yourself happy snacks include maybe a small bag of seeds. I know it sounds like trill, but they are really good for you. Boiled egg with rye bread soldiers is another really good idea. Now, ideally, of course, you should get all your nutrition from food, but let's be honest, how many of us actually eat a really broad diet? We tend to eat the same things over and over again. Certainly, if you want to feel better fast, and the moment you're not feeling happy, one of the quick ways to improve things is to add a few supplements into your diet. Think about 5-HTP. This is a derivative of tryptophan and has been shown to be as effective as antidepressant drugs in boosting serotonin in the brain in some studies. You want to think about between 50 and 100 milligrams twice a day with a glass of fruit juice between meals. One thing to say about 5-HTP, it could take a week or two to really get working. It's a bit like SSRIs in that way. Obviously, if you are on depression medication, you should always talk to your doctor first anyway before adding anything else into your diet. TMG, trimethylglycine, is converted in the body into another very important substance called SAMe. Now this is thought to have an antidepressant effect. The dose is variable, so you can up it or down it depending on how much you think you need, up to 2,000 milligrams a day. Taurine is helpful if you've got a very high stress job, for example, and you want to bring yourself down from an adrenaline high. The dose between 500 and 1,000 milligrams, take that twice a day. Have a think about rhodiola. Rhodiola is a herb. Some people haven't heard of this. It's what they call an adaptogen, and therefore it helps restore balance in the body. Really helpful for helping the amino acids go into your brain and for keeping you, just feeling you more an even keel, really. The dose about 250 milligrams each day. A really well-known antidepressant herb is St. John's wort. The dose is about 300 milligrams, 2 or 3 times a day. But it doesn't work for everybody in my experience, and sometimes it takes a while to work. Again, if you're already on antidepressants, don't add St. John's wort as well. Talk to your doctor first. A really obvious one is omega-3, a fish oil. Lots of studies have shown this improves brain function in adults and children. Try 1,000 milligrams a day of what's labelled EPA-DHA. And the last really is a good multivitamin, really, because lots of vitamins and minerals help brain function in tiny, tiny amounts. We need a very broad range, so get a really good broad range one, a good quality one. It should have some chromium for blood sugar control, magnesium because that's a really good muscle relaxant for if you're feeling tense, and zinc because zinc depletion is very linked to obsessive compulsive behaviour. Anorexics, for example, quite often low in zinc, so putting that in, kind of evens you out a little. And as I said one more time, if you are depressed, you should consult your GP and talk to them before you take any other nutritional supplements. You should also not come off any antidepressants without a doctor's advice, so please seek advice on that. If you're having suicidal thoughts, you should also contact the Samaritans. Well, that's it. I hope you found this useful. You can click on the link above if you want some more free health advice. You can also go to YouTube, or you can go to my website, www.larrytanner.com. Or you can always come in for an appointment in central London or North London. Thanks for watching.